My name is Shefali and this is the Curly Bookworm. I know that a lot of you are new here, so welcome. I hope you've looked around and I hope you like it here. What we do here is we talk about books and we talk about art because those are basically the two loves of my life. So this is going to be an art video today because I just realized recently that I have finished like 6 months of being a full-time entrepreneur. I have talked about why I did this and what I did before this. So I would suggest that you go and see that video if you haven't yet already, so you have a decent amount of context to what I'm saying at the moment. What I want to talk about today is basically, I just realized recently that I finished like 6 months of being a full-time artist and I have a bunch of learnings apparently, because the first couple of years are full of learnings. They're rife with learnings and I want to share them. I want to share them because I wish somebody had told me about them, to be quite honest. Here are 6 things that I wish someone had told me 6 months ago when I started this journey. Let's go. So before I get into the actual video, what I'm going to tell you is I'm doing this video a little bit differently. I'm going to be painting as I talk. So you won't really see me, you will see me painting. So hopefully you'll enjoy that process. But I will take you through those 6 things that I feel I have learned in the last 6 months. But some context to what I'm painting right now. I'm painting in my sketchbook. I basically am doing a 30-day abstract art sketching challenge. I know it's a bit bizarre because not too many people do abstract art sketches. You know, they don't use sketchbooks for abstract art, but I wanted to give myself that challenge and I wanted to see what that might look like. And today I'm on day 28. So that's the background to what you're going to be seeing me painting as I talk. So I will see you at the end of this video after I've talked you through all the great wisdom and I will say bye. For right now, let's go to the painting, okay?
Okay, so for the last like 27 days, I have been doing these abstract sketches and paintings in my sketchbook. It started off as what I thought would be sketches, but to be honest, right now they're becoming full-fledged paintings that I can't sell because they're in my sketchbook, but they make for excellent future thingies. Anyway, so now I am on day 28 and that's what you're seeing me start out today. Yeah, so maybe I can take you through a sketchbook tour a couple of weeks from now, but yeah, like I said, this is day 28 and now I'm going to talk to you about 6 things that I have learned in the last 6 months of being a full-time artist. And can I tell you, these are in no particular order because honestly, like nothing ever happens in any kind of order when you're an entrepreneur or like you're working for yourself. That's just, let that be like your first lesson. So the first thing that I would have liked to know before I began this journey is, I would have liked it if someone said, this is not going to be a linear journey. Forget linear, be patient. I know it sounds a little bit platitudinal, to be honest, and maybe that's why I wouldn't have taken it seriously if somebody had told me this. But yeah, well, that's fair. I mean, slow growth is good growth. I will go with slow growth. But I didn't expect it to be up and down, weird, jumping around, bouncing off. Like, that's how this journey has felt in the last 6 months. Like, for example, when I started out, normally, how would you start out? You would put together a series of work, you would go and meet clients, da-da-da. But no, that's not how it started. I quit my job and then I almost immediately, literally on day 1, had things to do because I had a commission. I had a friend who was starting her own company and she wanted me to do something for her in terms of a collaboration and a commission. So I went ahead and I did that. And there was a lot of research that I had to do because I'd never done products before. And I was launching my first product for the label, for the art label. And we did a beautiful journal called the Dual Mode Journal, and that's how I started. And it was completely hectic because I didn't know anything about it. My first day was running around, and then from there for the next 2 months I was only running around because everything was so many firsts. Like, how do I make these videos, how do I make assets for communication, how do I make social media reels, and like, oh my god, it was so much apart from the product and the art itself. And it was a whirlwind, and that was the first 2 months. And then nothing. It was a complete lull for a long time. So January came in after the holidays, and as it is, January is dead. And like, I felt even more dead because the whole of January, my house was being painted. I wasn't able to paint because my home was being painted and I had nowhere to go and paint. And then Feb and March, my family was visiting, so I wasn't like full on painter mode on. And then some of April, or a lot of April rather, I was traveling. And then suddenly I was like, wait, many months have passed. Nothing has happened. What is this? I thought there would be like steady pace, like, you know how you get in a job, like there's a decent amount of pace in a job, and when the pace changes you kind of know. But here sometimes it isn't necessarily like that. And as an artist, you will have phases of creation, you will have phases of, you know, extra enthusiasm and motivation. Like, for example, this whole month of May, I have gone nuts. I'm not kidding. I have gone nuts with this whole challenge where I've painted a new painting almost every single day. It's like painting a small mini painting, because I thought I'd spend like 30 minutes, but I'm spending close to like 2 hours on each of these pieces. And that's a bit insane to me, because that's like small mini painting times, you know. So it's interesting that it's not linear. And so I think it would have been nice if someone had said, don't worry when nothing happens, don't worry when there's a lull. In fact, enjoy the lull, because when it gets crazy again, you're going to crave the lull. Anyway, so the second thing that I wish someone had told me was that my idea of productivity as I knew it right now would be shattered when I went and became a full-time artist. Okay, so if you've watched the other videos, you should know by now already that I used to have a corporate job and a corporate career, and I have been in the corporate space for the last 17 years, which means that all of the habits that I know from a workplace are corporate habits. And so, I mean, one of the things that I really had to immediately change is my idea of productivity. As you guys know, in the corporate space, that 8-hour thing is sacrosanct. Of course, a lot of us put in way more than 8 hours. We don't just put in 8 hours, we put in 10 hours, 12 hours, never less than 8 anyway, especially if you're a freelancer, you're working as hard as you can. And for me, I had to relearn that, because initially when I started working as an artist, I was like, oh, I haven't painted for 8 hours today, which now on hindsight sounds so silly, because you can't paint for 8 hours. You're not painting a house, you're painting a canvas, you're doing creative work. You cannot do it for 8 hours, you know. And so that's kind of insane, but those were the expectations that I had of myself. I wanted me to paint for 8 hours a day minimum. I wanted me to do 40 hours a week. All this like insane expectation, right? And I don't think that's how it works. And I have discovered since the value of this thing that I call the just be time. Because a creative person's life is different. It isn't the same on this side of things. Yes, there needs to be discipline, because there's a discipline that you need to do in showing up. For example, if I'm doing a 30-day sketching challenge, I need to show up every single day because I'm accountable. But even if I'm not accountable to social media, I'm accountable to myself. So showing up is discipline. Doing the things that you say you will do is discipline. But 8 hours? I don't think that's something that necessarily is important at all. So I had to very quickly change my idea of productivity. And as I say this, I remember it being really hard. I remember being hard on myself. And I also remember it being hard to break that sort of cycle, that framework that I knew. And this is where the third thing that I wish someone had told me comes in, which is invest in a good business coach. Okay, so the thing is that you might think it's an artist's job. Why do I need a business coach? I mean, you might also think you are an entrepreneur. I am not. I'm just an artist. So why do I need a business coach? Listen, the first thing is everybody who is doing a creative role is also running their own business. Okay, you're an entrepreneur, whether you like it or not. And ideally, you should own the business side of your business and not just look at the creative side of your business. Yes, it is your business, your core business to create, but it is also your business to sell your business. That's a lot of businesses. And if I had a shot for each time I said business, but you know what I'm trying to say. I'm basically saying that, look, at the end of the day, you have to own all parts of what you are creating and putting out there in the world. And for that, you have to wear multiple hats, not just the person who creates something, but also the person who is marketing it, the person who is getting things made off of it, the person who is your boss, the person who is your employee. Like, you are your own employee and your own boss. Okay, there is no team here. And honestly, especially if you're in a creative job where you're creating a lot by yourself, you do end up being alone. And if you're from the kind of context that I come from, where I have people that I work with, a team, etc., it can feel very, very isolating. So getting a good business coach helps in multiple ways. It helps you sort of use that person's wisdom, experience, and most importantly, objectivity that they bring to the table to make yourself better as a business person, as a creative person even. Like, for example, you might think that I only got better from a business point of view. I really did not. Trust me, one of the bigger things that I needed improved, like I said earlier, was this whole idea that I was holding on to of productivity that didn't exist in my new life anymore. And I had to reframe it. And the way I did it was with my business coach. Her name is Shefali. She is a friend as well, and she happened to be around at exactly the time that I was looking for someone to coach me. I wasn't really actively looking, actually. I was just thinking about whether this is a good idea. And I happened to meet her for coffee, and she happened to tell me that she's moved into this line of work. And I was like, oh my God, please let's work together, because I think it's going to be instrumental to my success and me moving forward. And so I decided to go ahead and work with her. And she is excellent, by the way. I'm going to put in all her details in the description box below. You can get in touch with her. She is the founder of a company called Lemon Tree, and she is an excellent coach. Oh, and by the way, she also does these like workshops that even if you don't want full-time coaching and you just want to reorient yourself or whatever, she does these mini workshops which are excellent as well. So I would say get in touch if you're interested in even like sort of dipping your feet in this whole coaching area. But back to what I was saying, she helped me reframe what productivity could be in a creative scenario. If it's not 8 hours, what could it be? For example, one of the things that she came up with, one of the metrics she came up with was, what did you create today? So ask yourself at the end of the day, not, hey, did I work for 8 hours? Ask yourself, what did I create today? And she said, don't quantify it. Look at it as, what kind of energy did you put out there, And so that was the second metric, which is, what is the energy that you feel at the end of the day? What is the energy that you've netted out with at the end of the day? I know this kind of may sound a little bit like frou-frou, but I swear to you, it's not, because I've been following this for 5 months now, or 4 months or something like that. And it has been working for me like a charm. I can't tell you how stuck I felt with the whole productivity thing. And this has really helped me get past it. So I feel like if you're getting to be a full-time artist, understand that there may be a method to that madness, and that might just be in the form of getting a coach on board. And by the way, you don't have to see this coach all the time. I see Shefali once a month. I find that our sessions are super productive, and so you can decide your frequency, you can decide what you want to work with, and then you can pick your coaching accordingly. But don't skip the coaching. The fourth thing that I wish someone had told me explicitly was that the journey of a creative person goes from lots of doubt to lots of confidence, and the key is to sit somewhere in the middle. So what I've discovered is there are days when I feel really good about this journey that I'm on. But there are days as a creative, for any creative person or any entrepreneur for that matter, where you'll wonder and you'll think, have I made a mistake? Can I believe in myself? What is even going on? What was I thinking when I promised myself that I want to do this? Or what was I thinking when I took this on? And that is completely normal. I've discovered for a while now that I can go very easily from days where I'm full of confidence and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be such a runaway success and I'm going to be so amazing at this. And then there are other days when I'm like fully plagued by imposter syndrome and I am like, what am I doing right now? And I think the key is to not get crippled by it. And that's what I've learned so far anyway. I think the only way to eliminate self-doubt is to actually go through, do it, and see if the doubt is right or not. Just to sit with that doubt, not run away from it. It happens for me in my personal journal. I do a lot of morning pages. It's basically sort of like a brain dump, okay, into a journal where you just keep writing anything that's on your mind. So a lot of me meeting myself and my doubts happen in my morning pages. And I'm not saying that when that happens, I'm like miraculously cured and I don't feel doubtful anymore. Because the truth is that when you are in doubt of something, sometimes it's something that is a long risk. It's something that is a long game and you have to wait it out. So the only thing that you need to do is keep answering those doubts, go through the motions, live through it, and understand that you have to trust yourself. You have to trust yourself to know that you will be able to pick yourself up if you fall. Every time you get through one of these, you realize that, hey, I can do this, and you trust yourself even more, and the doubt becomes lesser and lesser, or it just doesn't feel as monstrous. So yeah, that's like the thing that I wish people had told me, that there will be doubt and that you will have to learn how to cope with doubt, and that's it. It's everybody's journey. It's normal. Normalize the doubt. Anyway, let's talk about the fifth thing. The fifth thing is a very important thing for me, and it is to find your cheerleaders. If you're doing something by yourself, if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a creative person going into creative field, honestly, the world isn't necessarily with you. The world is kind of against you in that everybody expects you to get a job. That's the prescriptive sort of way of life. Get a job, do the 9 to 5, be quiet, walk the same path that everybody else is walking. Okay, I don't mean to sound cynical, but that is sort of the conversation in society, right? By and large, especially in Indian society. So if you're doing something that's innovative, if you're doing something that is new, that it is artistic, or you know what, if you're doing something that requires some amount of bravery, find yourself cheerleaders. I'm sure when you talk to your friends, your family, there are people in some corner, in many corners, who think that you're amazing, who think that what you're doing, what you're going to do is amazing, and they cheerlead you. Nourish those relationships, identify them and nourish those relationships. For me, this is my sister. First and foremost, she has been around from the very beginning, and she is literally walking around with pom-poms and doing all of these like cheerleading slogans. I can't even tell you. She's amazing. And my partner is amazing too. He doesn't even like abstracts, or didn't like abstracts. Said he couldn't understand them, and now he fully backs me up, and he is a huge champion of my work. Another big cheerleader for me is my friend Esha, who has recently started her own company as well, and so we're kind of on the same journey. And she is a huge cheerleader. And cheerleaders, they come in different shapes and sizes. It can be somebody in your family. It can be a friend. It can be some acquaintance who's on your Instagram who likes every single post and in a way shows that they recognize the thing that you're trying to do. So, cherish your cheerleaders. Sometimes when you're in the middle of self-doubt, it's easy to sort of ignore your cheerleader. Yeah, no, I think cherish the cheerleader is like the biggest thing. So yeah, I'm really grateful for all of the cheerleaders on my side, to be very honest with you. The sixth one is to build a community. That is the sixth thing that I wish somebody had told me, that it's super important, especially for an artist or a solo entrepreneur. You're going to be doing all of the work that you do on your own. And if I'm being very honest, this is work in progress for me. I haven't figured this out yet. It's a lesson that I'm currently in the middle of learning. Building a routine where you're going out, you're meeting people socially, as well as, let's say, for example, sometimes I go to a co-working space. It's not very often, and I hope to go a little more often if I'm being honest. But this is something that I do as often as I can. Make those plans. Otherwise, you're just sitting at home, you're cut off from the world. And for me, for someone who is as extroverted and who loves people as I do, it becomes really, really hard. And even if you're not much of a people person, it does become hard to just work with only yourself. So build a community. For me, it's people like my friend Esha, who, like I said in the beginning, she has opened her own company, is on a similar path of, being a founder and trying to figure out things from scratch, etc. There is my friend Sid, who is one of my best friends, who also is kind of getting on the same path as well. And yeah, so just look for these people, look for kindred spirits, like Anne of Green Gables says, and build a community. I think there are other things that I'm going to start putting in place in the next few months, where I want to start building more of a community with not just other people like me, but also people who love art. So those are the 6 things that I would say keep an eye out for. Thanks for listening to this TED Talk. No, I'm kidding. It isn't a TED Talk. This is just some humble learnings, I guess you could call it. Anyhow, thank you for listening. And this is the end of day 28.
As I say bye, there are just a couple of things that I want to say. So through all of these aha moments that I've had in the last few months, I kept thinking, I wish someone told me these things. Because I did go through a lot of podcasts and things like books and things like that before I made this big decision. You'll know that if you have seen my last video, because I talked about how much research I did. That said, I will say that even if I knew this in theory, I'm not sure if the lesson or how I learned it would have really settled the way it did. I really truly understand all of these things. For example, I really understand the need for a community. I really, really understand the need to redefine productivity, and that productivity can never be the way it used to be before. So yeah, so there are lessons that, I wish I had been taught before, but I don't think it would have really hit home the way it did because I learned them myself. However, that said, I hope that this helps you if you're trying to make this decision of becoming a full-time professional artist, or if you're even thinking of becoming an entrepreneur, because a lot of these, I'm thinking, will make sense for you as well. It's not just for just the artist. So yeah, cheers to you if you are making that decision. I hope you get to make an informed decision. I hope you watch a lot more videos like these, or you listen to podcasts or read stuff or speak to people or whatever it is. And yeah, good luck to you and good luck to me as I continue on this journey. I will keep coming to you and giving you that gyan. I'm also starting a bunch of blogs and emailers and things like that. I will keep you updated about that. I'm gonna go now. I will see you when I see you next. I'm not sure when that is, maybe in a couple of weeks. See you soon. Bye.